Hi everyone, it's Rax. I want to show you a really funny build that's currently on the PTR, the new Army of the Dead Invincible Necromancer. So the two-piece of the Bones of Rathma set resets your Army of the Dead by 1 second every single time your minions deal damage. And there is a passive called Rathma Shield that whenever you use Army of the Dead, you cannot take damage for 4 seconds. So it's very simple. If we run in with our command skellies, and we run in with our mages, and then we revive 10 minions, and they're all just wailing on monsters all the time, we can spam Army of the Dead. If we spam Army of the Dead, it means that Rathma Shield is always up. It means that we literally cannot die. So I opened out 145. This was the first key that I attempted, and I absolutely annihilated it, and it can easily do 150. So I just want to show you the interesting playstyle. So I pretty much just run forward and aggro whatever I want because, well, as long as my minions are attacking, I literally can't die. And I just spam Army of the Dead. And I just step into the Oculus rings. The bad news there is you can still get hit by things like frozen. And if you get frozen and can't spam Army of the Dead, that's about the only way that you could possibly die. So really all you got to do is run around and aggro everything and spam Army of the Dead and make sure that your skellies are commanded and make sure that all of your revives are still with you. They should last forever with the set. And you keep summoning mages. And you just have a nice old time taking a stroll through all the monsters, and you literally can't take any damage. I'm using the Poison Rune of Army of the Dead with Nair's Black Death in the cube. I'm using 6 poison skills, except I use Frenzy, which is not a poison skill for the Skellies. That way they attack faster, so it resets my Army of the Dead even quicker. If you look at my number 4, it just keeps getting reset. I just keep mashing it along with some mages. And Nair's Black Death, every poison skill that you use gives you a nice little multiplier. So I can have up to 5 stacks. You see that in the top left corner of my buffs, the 5 stacks. The reason I don't have 6, again, is because my skellies are using the physical rune, so I can reset my army faster. But really, yeah, you just run around. It's very chill. Just chill on the Oculus Ring when you can, and you just spam Army of the Dead at all the elites, and you've got nothing to worry about. Other than the affixes like Nightmarish and Frozen. So, obviously, the immortality and being able to do literally whatever you want, essentially having a permanent shield pylon, is probably not going to stay, and it is buffing this build quite a bit. So what I think they will probably do is make a change to the Rathma Shield passive. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to change it, but I don't expect this to last. But honestly, it's kind of a hilarious playstyle. The main problem with it is it's very mashy. I mean, you have to hit Army of the Dead once every 4 seconds, the entire rift. That's not exactly the most fun thing to do. And if you're playing with Nairs, rotating through all of the different poison skills all the time, you can imagine how much further your mashing increases by. One nice thing about this build is the Bone Armor rune, that's the Poison rune, also applies a stun. So that stun can be used on the poison cycle of your Convention of Elements right after you cast Army of the Dead to deal insane damage. Well, we wiped out all those elites, no problem at all. And so we move on forward here. We have one little Mage Wrath left. I'm happy just to sit here and just mash him with Army of the Dead. And you can see in a GR145 how quickly you can just melt a blue down. This yellow decided to follow us. That was a big mistake. Just by mashing Army of the Dead, they die quite easily. And we run forward. So, looking around for the other Mage Wraths, because I don't think we got any orbs for it, but I didn't see anything. You can see in a moment where I didn't cast Army of the Dead, they were able to proc my cheat death. So you can die if you stop mashing Army of the Dead, but other than that, you should be good to go. And we move forward. My minions aren't really attacking anything because I'm moving, so Army of the Dead uptime is a little bit potato right there. Moving forward, and we're looking for something good. A 5-pack of Golgors. That's not exactly what I would consider good, but I guess it's better than nothing. I was hoping for a conduit pylon, but whatever, I'll take it. Just move to the Oculus Rings and spam Army of the Dead. Try to use your bone armor on your poison cycle, or you can just honestly just cast it whenever it's up. Doesn't matter. But this is a very interesting build that has come out of the new Rathma rework. So yeah, some people were asking, Rax, might they change the Rathma rework itself? I mean, I guess it's possible. I guess it's possible that they would do that, but I don't know. I'm kind of having fun spamming Army of the Dead. We're not even using Bone Spirit at all in this build. And this is the kind of build that I always envision for the Necromancer, something like this, where you are the commander of the undead. Now, I don't really like spamming my buttons as hard as I can for 15 minutes. That's a good way to get carpal tunnel and break your hand. But yeah, something like this is kind of, you know, a build that I envisioned for the Necromancer back in the Diablo 2 days, just raising a big army and just running forward. I think is pretty cool for the fantasy of the character. So anyway, we zone into a horrible Corvus. I'm trying to stand where there isn't any frozen, but I'm strong enough just to sit here and just kill the corrupted angels. Now, obviously, I do have all my Paragon points in here, so you would do lower if you didn't have 8,000 guns. Maybe you'd be doing 135s instead. But the good news is your survivability would be exactly the same as mine, because you're invincible at any Paragon level. As long as you have the required cooldown, and as long as you mash your skills, you really can't die. So we move on forward here. I don't know why my minions aren't attacking. It's making me sad. So I try to reposition them, and there we go. Now my Army of the Dead is being reset again. And I'm just wailing on this yellow, happy as a clam, standing in the Oculus Ring, having a grand old time until the yellow runs away from me. Now I'm not having any more fun. So we'll run up, we'll open the door, maybe we can get some more monsters to come in. I can get used to this permanent shield pylon. This is pretty nice, actually. So, we're just wailing on him, ready for him to die. You can die anytime you're ready, Mr. Yellow. Please die. And finally, our Army of the Dead has finally got enough damage where he's about to perish, and we'll be able to move forward through this terrible, terrible map. Thank you for the orbs. And one thing that this build doesn't have is a way to get around monsters that are in front of you, so the way to get around them is just to kill them. All right, we have some barbed lurkers, and we have a shield pylon. That couldn't possibly be more worthless to me. I am my own shield pylon. But the good news is we are taking advantage of the new Emanate system with the Scoundrel. So the Scoundrel is giving us a free Flavor of Time, and he's also giving us Nemesis Bracers. So we have a free yellow out of the pylon, without wearing NEMs ourselves, and we have the double duration on the shield, which is, of course, worthless, but you wanna know what? I'll take it. Why not? Another cool thing about this build, which won't exist if Blizzard removes the immortality, is we can use Squirt's Necklace, which means we essentially get double damage all the time. So that right there, the pure immortality all the time, is giving us essentially double damage all the time. But yeah, I'm quite certain it's going to be changed, and then we will not be able to use that. So gearing for survivability is going to knock this down several tiers, and losing the Squirt's Necklace is going to knock it down several tiers. So I wouldn't say that this is in the nerf range. I expect this power level could go live. And by the way, it can do 150s. There are multiple 150 clears already. I just popped a 145 just to demonstrate it wasn't even that good of a map. We did it easily just to show you. how easy it is when you're literally can't die. But I do expect the immortality thing to change. I don't think they're going to let that go through. And honestly, that's probably good news for your hand, because otherwise your hand would break next season. Just mashing Army of the Dead endlessly to get the Rathma shield up. So this is a terrible map. Not really sure what to do here. Should probably just leave, but I can kill these guys so quickly. I'm kind of tempted just to kill them real quick. Anyway, we're winding around. I'm just praying that this Corvus will end soon. All right, we got some monsters here. We can do something here. So, just hammering away. And yeah, before we get to the Guardian, I have a little question for you. How hard of a time do you think we're going to have on the Guardian? Do you think he's going to take forever to kill, or do you think he's going to die quickly? Make your mental predictions before we get here. All right, so we zone into a Halls of Agony. This is a terrible map with Licky Tongues, which is a terrible mob type. But it does not matter. We only need 2% progression to finish off the Rift. So I will do my normal thing of just mashing my minions and Army of the Dead, stand in the Oculus Ring, and that was good enough. We have Mr. Mancarver. All right. And the playstyle couldn't be easier here. Mash your skills and mash Army of the Dead. And as you can see, he's getting chopped pretty darn good. Pretty darn good with no Oculus Ring. And I believe that I was not using Bane of the Stricken here, so I'm going to do consistent damage the entire way through. So I'm not even using Bane of the Stricken to kill a 145 Guardian. There are very, very few builds in Diablo 3's history that can kill a Rift Guardian at this level without using Bane of the Stricken. But yeah, I'm content just to slowly but surely chip him away. Probably at the very, very highest levels, and especially if they nerf the immortality and we lose the Squirt's Necklace, you will have to take Bane of the Stricken. But currently as it is, don't need it. Just kill him in a decent time without it. Pretty cool build. I hate spamming it all the time, which is why I didn't push the 150 a couple rifts of this, and I had enough. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this Immortal build. How do you think Blizzard is going to fix it? And I'm really looking forward to seeing what other cool builds we can find out for Season 23. I will keep testing stuff on the PTR, and especially if they make any updates, we will come back and revisit this and revisit the Tao's Firebird Wizard. But for right now, this will probably be the last video on the PTR. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.